Good evening and welcome to MPOOMY LEDWABA's book launch. We are honored to host the first book launch in South Africa here at Rosebank, so thank you so much for joining us. A special welcome to MPOOMY's family and friends who have joined us this evening. And to all of MPOOMY's fans, we appreciate your presence. I'd like to introduce our phenomenal discussant, Amanda Dambuza. Amanda Dambuza is the Chief Executive of Uyandiswa, a project management consulting firm she founded in 2013. She is also the founder and director of Leadership Development Strategies, a company founded in 2016 with the purpose of mentoring, coaching, facilitation, and identifying talent and team development. I must say, Amanda has the longest CV, as you all probably know, so I'm not going all right now, but if you do want to check out more, please go to her website. And then I want to introduce our guest of honor this evening, MPOOMY LEDWABA. For those of us who may not know her, she is the biggest wellness influencer in South Africa. She's a digital entrepreneur, a speaker, and an award-winning podcaster. Her company, Wisdom and Wellness, was created to inspire, equip, and encourage people to live purposeful, prosperous, and holistic lives. Over the years, she has built an incredible community of young people and old who are not ashamed to live out their values and make an impact in the world. Thank you so much. Also, a special shout out to the Girl Pals who have also joined us this evening. I'll now be handing over to Amanda to facilitate the discussion.
Well. Woo! We are here. How are you, my darling? Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. My boobs want to go for a walk. Sorry, Papa. But so every time that happens, just wave me and be like, yeah. Well, I mean, I am sitting here with a best-selling author. Nompumelelo Amanda LEDWABA. How are you, my darling? How are you feeling?
I looked at your stickers and I got very nervous.
Yeah.
Very nervous.
And I actually had to tone down my notes because it was a lot. And I was told how much time we have, so I was like, okay. I have so many questions. But first and foremost, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I am immensely proud of you, and I can spend all night talking about that, so I'm going to leave that be. When I was reading your book, first of all, I was the first one to get the copy. I have to take my credit somewhere. I was so happy because I watched you go through the process, and I got to experience some of your thought process, and to have it in my hand and be able to be like, wow, actually, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. What? I didn't know that. Was actually really, really amazing. But it was also quite intriguing because it's not even a thing that young people write memoirs. I mean, you are 30 years old. You've written your memoir. Why?
That's a good question. Firstly, let me say hi. Hey, girl pals! Let me start by confessing to everyone. I had a dream that only 3 people would show up. So thank you for coming. Okay, now that's done. I didn't want to call it a memoir because, like you said, no 30-year-old writes a memoir. But my publisher came to me about 4 years ago, and they said, okay, we would like you to write a book. And I also was like, Aibo Ngzoti, like, what am I writing about? And I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. And I tried to write some stuff, but it just felt off. I was just like, I'm giving too much advice, and it's just weird. And I stopped. And then I think last year I went to a conference, and there was a word spoken, and I knew that God wanted me to say something. And I knew that it had to do with healing. But I didn't want to give 5 steps of healing.
Yeah.
And so the best way I could speak about healing was showing my own process, sharing my own story. And I think the whole idea was giving the permission to heal. A lot of you said, I relate, I relate. And I was so nervous writing all those things because I was like, geez, this is TMI. But when I saw so many people say me too, I knew exactly that, it's relatable. So it's not necessarily a memoir, but I think it's literally, how did I get here? How did I become this person? Considering that I'm on social media, all I show is my highlights.
Yeah.
And people could think that life is just perfect, be an influencer, and that's the way to go. And I felt a responsibility to say, hey, there's actually a lot of stuff that is relatable that's going on.
Well, whether you call it a highlight, a historical account, it's still a memoir. and I think what I really love about you, and having spent quite a bit of time and getting to know you, is that you are all about challenging generational narratives. And I think that's what this book is. I mean, how many of you have read the book and finished it already? Good, really nice. So I can't lie to you. and I really like that, because what it felt like to me was you telling me your story, not in historical tense, but in current. So it's like you're living somebody else's life full on in current mode, even though, yes, some of the things that you've gone through were quite historic. So when I published Baked in Pain in 2018, I was lying there and I felt so gripped in fear. I had written my story initially, which was really meant to be a historical account of my life, because I didn't have anyone to kind of share that with me or share, where I had come from and my own experiences. So I had to go and do my own research, and it was a gift to my children. But I was lying there and so terrified, deciding to publish or not to publish. And I remember God speaking to me very vividly and said, it was never your story to keep anyway.
Yeah.
Did you feel that way before you made the decision to publish? Because writing is one thing. Yeah. The actual releasing of this very intimate and very personal, I mean, some of the stuff I didn't even know. Yeah. And I can imagine that you also had to go to a very deep place, because the more you write, the more things come and the more your memory unlocks. Yeah. How did you feel just before that decision?
Sure, before I was in a contract, so I didn't really have a choice. So either way, the book was coming out. But I went, and I think I shared this with you, I went through a stage where I took 2 chapters out the book, where those are the spaces in my life I'm just not ready to be vulnerable about. Maybe someday I will share those parts, but at that moment it felt like I would over-explain myself, or that perfectionism thing kicked in, like I had to make it pretty. Yeah. So every time I felt like I need to dress up a chapter, I need to act more character to it, I just knew that, okay, there's still something going on here, you're not ready. And everything else I wrote as is. I didn't have to dress it up, I didn't have to reduce it. And Sibongile said to me, these people that you speak about, some of them the villains in the story, have you spoken to them? Are you okay? And I said, for the most part, the people I've reconciled with or I have respect for, yes, I have. Yeah. But the ones who played their part, knowingly hurting me, they decided which chapter they write in my book, and I just have to tell my story. So no, I didn't feel or anything about it. I was like, I'm proud of what I put out. it is my truth. And I
Yes.
started with saying, as Black women, we constantly have to apologize for our pain. And I
Yeah.
think you, in corporate, you were called the double-breasted wooden
Mother with a wooden
mother
with a wooden breast.
Meaning you're not tender, you're not loving, you're not compassionate. And those are the tags we get. I'm
Yeah.
a mean girl because I've got boundaries. I'm a mean girl because I go after my dreams. It's like, how dare you decide
Yeah.
to own your power?
Yeah.
And so I just decided, well, this is my story. Somebody else needs to hear it. I'm proud of it. And that full circle moment when I woke up at the age of 13, I said, I like myself. Then I was able to just own it. Like,
Yes.
there's nothing you can tell me about my story because I told it first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask you to move your chair towards me? Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, no, the podium. So just maybe keeping with that. Brandon hasn't yet read the book, so I told him I read it for him.
He's nervous.
He's nervous.
He's
about,
very nervous.
How he's painted in the picture. And I'm gonna come. We're gonna chat about a few chapters. There is. You just mentioned, you get called a mean girl because you've got boundaries. There is a chapter where you write about being called stingy.
Yeah.
And back in the day, people said you were stingy, and you are now a very generous person because you're quite conscious of what you had, the feelings that came with being called stingy. When I was growing up, I was called cruel. I mean, clearly there's a theme. Somebody said I'm a mother with a wooden breast. Somebody else said I was cruel. and I remember that came from my own family. And I remember asking them one day, because passing statements, and you write about that quite a bit. And I think one of always the passing statements were, when you're quite cruel. Yeah. And then one day I sat them down and I said, can you please tell me, what do you mean exactly? Because that's what happens with passing statements. They pass, we don't challenge them. Yeah. And they become our identity, we believe we are.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
So I asked them, so what do you mean exactly? They said, you never cry. You didn't cry when Luther Vandross died. I was like, okay, so is that what you mean by I am cruel? Yeah. Because I'll take it, right? And I said to them, but I don't know Luther Vandross. Like,
I'm sorry.
I've never met the guy. The guy doesn't know me. Yeah. The fact that I listen to his music doesn't suddenly make us buddies and then I must cry for him. So my question to you around being called names, and how you, particularly around being stingy. By the way, I think you are one of the very few people I've come across in life who's very money-wise. You are very money-wise, and it's very impressive. And I know your father taught you a lot of those lessons in business, or you taught him some lessons around worth and how much he should pay you and things like that. But why do you think that now you are this generous person who's quite conscious of others and conscious of other people's suffering? Do you feel that maybe you may be overcompensating for what you were called back in the day, just so that you can feel good about yourself?
Sure. No. I do have a selfish bone in me, and I think every successful person does, because every business person does.
Yeah. What do you mean by selfish in this particular instance?
That I will choose myself.
Yeah.
I will choose myself, and I don't think we're allowed to say that. Like, I can see the room has gone tense, like your butts have squeezed up,
what
right?
Do you mean?
I choose myself. I choose my dreams, and because I know how resentful I'll be if I don't.
Yeah.
Right? And because I know that about myself, so the stinginess is not wrong.
Mm.
Like I said, it's not wrong. It's part of my personality, part of.
Maybe you're just frugal, not stingy, but
maybe
frugal.
Yeah, maybe frugal, and it comes off as a stingy person. But also, again, I think boundaries. Maybe my parents will interfere, but I've just always, my no is my no, and my yes is my yes, and I don't explain it. But then you come across people and they don't understand why you're not explaining your no and your yes. And so because I've been conscious about relationship building, I realized that perhaps that doesn't contribute so much into relationship. So it's something that I need to actively work on. It's like when you do your SWOT analysis, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses. And for me, that was my weakness that I decided, okay, in order for me to have great human relations, because they matter to me, I am going to have to do a little more. So no, I don't think I'm compensating, but I do like that aspect of me now. But also, my generosity, I'm not a walkover. So it's I've learned to balance it very, very, very well.
Which is quite an interesting thing, because you speak in the book, you write a lot about what I assess to be, and you say it yourself as well, you've had to fight for attention.
Yeah.
And you are a firstborn child.
Yeah.
You've had to fight against Nonto.
Yeah.
Nango Nonto. We villain.
Sukuma sisibakubone.
Sukuma mkambakubone.
There we go.
Shuda is clearly not here, ne?
Shuda's not here. Yeah.
And so there's quite a common theme that I picked up in throughout the book, which is around attention.
Yeah.
Even when Gogo used to sit on Gogo's white couch and recline, and should make you listen to this guy's oats with yogurt and fruit.
Very
I'm like,
fancy.
somebody's always been a cheese girl. And even when you relate how that kind of stopped when her child came to live there, and how that made you feel. And it's quite an interesting thing to be able to balance the need to prove people wrong through generosity, to say, no, I'm not stingy, but also to not have the attention that you desire, and still come out and say, no, I'm not overcompensating through my generosity, or that I didn't do it. Because what do? We often buy love.
Yeah.
We buy attention. And I am so intrigued by how you've managed to navigate this starvation of attention, if I might put it that way. And I think I feel I'm not a firstborn child, I'm a lastborn child, but not the spoiled one. I may as well have been the firstborn child. Yeah. But I could feel the lack of a better word, the frustration and the pain of being a firstborn child, and then having all of this attention taken away from you, because then there's always something else or somebody else that comes after. How do you deal with attention now? Because a lot of people just throw tantrums if they don't get what they want. How do you deal with it? Tantrum here and there, or two?
I don't know. I don't know, but I think the way you've unpacked it now, you picked up a pattern that I probably didn't realize, that the first time I felt like I lost attention was when my sister was born, and then I felt like I lost attention from my grandmother when my cousin was living with her. I didn't pick up that pattern until you mention it now. But that's why I'm an overachiever, because I was the child who got an award for acting, and when you get an award, it's your moment. You get celebrated, and I guess as a child you recognize that, oh, when I do this, I get that.
A reward, yeah.
And yeah, I've just lived my life just overachieving, and that's why dropping out of varsity was such a big pain point in my life, because I was like, what now? Like, I was the smart one, I was the athletic one, and I don't have an answer now. Like, I can't fix it now. Like, I could say, God said so, but ipi evidence, there's no evidence. And so those years after dropping out was such a blur, because then I didn't have anything to prove anymore. Whereas throughout high school, I always had something to show. I mean, my dad, when I was in matric, we had a deal that for every distinction I get 100 rand. And he said, hi, nyamazi MPOOMY uzothola 7. And I'm like, okay, Dad. So the whole attention thing is, it's duality, because in a sense, I don't think my family or my parents were trying to deprive me.
Yeah.
But also in that, it's been such a benefit to my life. But then as you grow older, the achievements start meaning less. And then it's like, kahle, kahle, what am I looking for?
Yeah.
And then you start having to face yourself. And that's what Forbes did for me.
Yeah.
When I eventually got on the list, when I didn't get on the list, I cried the whole weekend. I remember when you called me and I didn't even want to pick up the phone. And you called me, but I was so broken. I think again, it was that thing, oh shucks, now I'm not getting the attention or the acknowledgement that she is the smart girl. She is doing it. And then it happened. And then I was like, it didn't close the hole that I thought I'm trying to close.
Yeah.
So I think it will always be an ongoing relationship for me.
Yeah.
But I am a little more self-aware because I'm an over-therapized black girl.
Yes.
So I'm aware. So I know, I think I'm more aware when I'm doing it again, when the perfectionism starts kicking in, when the need to do the next thing. In fact, yesterday, you must cut me because I know I answer long, I go around in circle.
Go.
I did an interview and the guy called, he asked me and he was raving and we were excited and it was nice. And at the end he's like, so what's next? And I looked at him with so much contentment and I said, nothing. I'm so happy, nothing. And it's the first time in my life.
Yeah. I like that.
Where
I like that, but stop here.
you always do this.
Yeah, I'm doing my best here. Okay, so I'm keeping it together. I've got some tissue somewhere.
It's the first time in my life I actually sit in something. Most of the time, everybody's celebrating, everybody's having a good time, and I'm just like paddling to the next. Yeah.
And thank you. Mina ngicela ukunitshela something. I'm not gonna cry tonight.
Ma'am, I saw you.
Oh gosh. I am not going to cry tonight because I'm all cried out. Stop it. Okay, so, I had such a nice question lined up. And we talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
And when very opening chapter in your book, the introduction, you say, I am a university dropout.
Yeah.
And like I sat there and I just cried because to me, you are not a university dropout. You dropped out of university.
Yeah.
There's a big difference between the two. A big difference. And if anything, when you walk away from here, well, okay, I'll always remind you every single day that it was the act of honoring your dreams to drop out of university.
Yeah.
Yes, against disappointing your parents and the expectations of a bright girl who should have been an accountant, but you are not a university dropout. And I want to talk about personalizing failure, because this is something that we do a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
We personalize failure. I am the thing that didn't work out. But the two are not the same. I started businesses that didn't work out. I sunk a lot of money. I was not a failure. The business failed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was going to start again and do it again and, take the lessons. Why do you think, you've already shared around perfectionism and you didn't want to disappoint people. Why do you think your relationship with failure is so deeply entrenched in, or has been, because I don't want to say is, because that's a definitive thing. It's something you're working on. I personally think you're getting better at it.
Thank you.
But Forbes, as you mentioned, was a big deal.
Yeah.
And why do you feel the need to achieve that, to achieve so many things? Like there's desire and dreams, and then there's your determination. And one of those determination points that I picked up in the book was becoming Mrs. LEDWABA. it so important for you to be Mrs. LEDWABA? I mean, I think you said it maybe 10 times in literally 2 paragraphs, that what mattered is I was Mrs. LEDWABA. I wanted to be Mrs. LEDWABA. So what is it about your competitiveness against self that makes you so intimate with failure?
Okay, are we ready? When I was 14, and I'm sure you've read, if you haven't, I, like a normal girl, had a crush on a boy in the school, and he was older than me. But it was a normal crush. I think my friends here, we all thought he was cute, right, Althea? Althea? Althea, agree.
They didn't think he was. They didn't think he was cute.
Okay.
No, it was just you.
But he was the it boy. But when you're 14, you don't think an it boy will pay attention to you. And then he does. And he does pay attention to you. But the last time I had a crush on someone, Mom gave me a hiding about it. She did. She gave me a hiding about it. So now it's wrong to like boys. It's wrong in my head. It's very wrong. You're a bad girl for liking boys. But I like boys. Don't you guys
now
like
we just
boys?
like one boy.
No?
Now we like just one boy.
You guys didn't like boys? Okay, no, I like a boy
we
now.
like one boy now. One boy.
Guys, I'm speaking in past tense. Pella, when I speak, I'm speaking in that moment. Thank you, thank you. At the time when I was 14, and I got the attention. Unfortunately, it wasn't the right attention, and he took my virginity away without my permission. But because there was no kicking and there was no screaming, there was simply a no. For me, it didn't connect that this person has violated me. My mom finds out a few days later because my sister tells on me, not Nonto. My older sister tells on me. I don't know if she tells on me because I think she told on me out of concern, which I think if she didn't, I'd probably have like an 18-year-old baby now, or sick or whatever. And she tells on me, and after being raped, I got a hiding again. But Mom didn't know that's what happened. And I didn't know that's what happened. And so from that moment, I had to correct what I had done and show that I'm not a bad girl. So perfectionism comes from, I'm not a bad girl. I will show Mommy I'm not a bad girl. Are we supposed to cry this much at book launches? And then to your point of becoming Mrs. LEDWABA, Brent and I were shacking. We were shacking. We were living together out of before marriage.
Fat and sit.
Fat and sit. Sorry. But nitheni funa incwadi na incwadi. So not officially, because he didn't unpack his bags, but how that happened was he was in Joburg. He had a car that worked. My car wasn't working, and my dad didn't fix it because I had dropped out of school, and and rightfully so. So my car wasn't working. My car kept getting stuck. Brennan couldn't afford to get a place of his own, and we wanted to be together. And so, and Graskop is 4 hours away, guys. And keep in mind, he just comes from a show where he felt like he failed. So it's these two people where he just got the biggest humiliation of his life in front of millions of people, and I just humiliated my family, and we're coming together, right? Mm. And we need each other. I need his car, he needs my place to stay.
was a good
And we
trait.
just need each other emotionally. But then we were having sex before marriage. And then again, I'm not supposed to do that. And every time we would repent, like we would repent, like, Baba. Siyaxolisa, ngeke siphinde. We won't do it again. And we would repent. And it was ongoing, but I was so convicted. It was so heavy on me. And so it was important that we get married because once again, I'm not a bad girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, now that Mama and Papa know,
Mom knew.
hey, when Brandon, come back here. You were perfectly fine in the front row seat next to them. So in fact, there's a chapter that says you can't Google cows. Which is about Brandon and coming to and Brandon and his family coming to request friendship.
Yes.
Officially. Oh, Valley Hlazo.
There was no hlazo.
Well, Faten said,
Yes.
and I think I can officially say now that you know, we need to add a few more cows to that to that number of cows. But maybe he's already delivered on many fronts. So I love chapter 27, and it is what I love the most. And Brandon, like I said to you, I was going to tell you about that chapter. It's what I believe is a love letter to your husband.
Okay.
He has not yet read it.
Yeah.
I have. And a few of us,
And few
and
other
quite
people.
a lot of us actually, so we know your story. But I thought it was such a beautifully written reflection of where you've come from. I think your whole book gives me reflection, processing vibes, right? I gotta speak like the millennials vibes. It gives me these vibes. So two things. Brandon, you can just go straight to that chapter. Ne? That's the one I think is so sweet, so beautiful, so pure. And I think that the note I wrote on that chapter was, every single time you have a frustration with your husband, read that chapter yourself. Because it is easy, and you, this is what you do quite a bit this is the second part, what you do in the book. It's almost like you're lifting the veil on your life. And I have an appreciation for that, because I think this image of perfectionism, and I don't know if you remember a conversation you and I once had, and I said, I'm so concerned about you and Brandon. You work together, you shoot together, you doing all these things together, and whilst it may not be your intention to showcase this perfect couple, perfect marriage, perfect children, beautiful children, sometimes that is how people receive what they see. Because people will consume you from where they are themselves, not where you are. And what I really love about throughout the book, in fact, you literally are stripping down everything and saying, don't
not what you think.
ever think it's not what you think. And I think that's important, because especially in your generation, I can say it. MPOOMY could have been my child, guys. In your generation, I think you, and it's possible that we did not have the liberty of the freedom that you guys have emotionally. And a lot of people, even in corporate environments, I know some of you are called into HR quite often, and people say, there's a generational gap. We don't know how to work with millennials or millennium people. So I think you guys are so sensitized, and to a point where some of us in the previous generation might think quite overly sensitized and quite overly vigilant and quite overly consuming of everything that you see and read. When you were born, the iPhone was here. Yeah. Social media was here. Some of us were born, we remember a time when there was no social media. I'm 46, those who don't know. And I think the question, and MPOOMY over there has already flagged me time-wise. I don't understand. We just sat down. 5 minutes? Okay. Well, let's stretch it to like 10. So, thank you. What is it about you stripping down to a point where you're almost saying, stop everything you've ever thought about me in my life? I feel like it's almost like a reintroduction of who you are.
Yeah.
How is that going to help the people that have followed your story, that probably built up in their image this life that they want for themselves, and now you're turning around and saying, actually, it's not quite what you think it is, or what you may have believed it is. What is your, if someone had to say, okay, now this is the reintroduction of MPOOMY, how are you supposed to be consumed now that you've stripped naked?
Sure. Ooh, that's a good question. You know, writing, I wrote about the 7-year itch, and really the last 2 years of our marriage have been extremely challenging with just family dynamics, and we got married when we were 23, and remember I shared that when we met each other, we had nothing. We both come from sort of losing what we revered the most and we put on a pedestal. And now we are in our 30s and our dreams are coming true. And we're different people. And we are growing. And there's self-awareness. And as a woman in a leadership position, where everybody, maybe let me not say as a woman in leadership position, currently society offers you a lot of options. You don't have to stay in a marriage. If this happens, then you should leave. Like, there's options, which I don't think you had, I don't think my parents had. And I remember we had a conversation, and I was telling you how hard things were, and then you opened up about something similar that you went through at our age, and you said, darling, those are growing pains. But now what social media has done with growing pains is growing pains are toxic.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Red flags.
Yeah.
It's red flags. And once you see that, you exit. So there's no longer a culture of working things out and fixing things, but everything is red flag, 1, 2, 3 out the door, and that's what's happening with us. And so writing a chapter on us was very vulnerable, and it was risky for me, because I was like, we're in such a tricky place. I don't know how this will hold, and that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
I don't know what will happen when this book goes out. Will he be sitting here, or will he not be sitting here? But I had to put it out there because after many times of lying on your couch and hearing about your marriage and talking to my mother and hearing about her marriage, I realized that this picture that we've painted on social media is the reason why people are getting divorced.
Yeah.
I don't think most people are meant to divorce, but the voices that are just screaming, exit, 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 are so loud.
Yeah.
Versus the ones that say this is growth, this is process, this is the 7-year itch, this is what happens. And so I had to put it out there, and let me tell you, Amanda, it's liberating. It's so liberating to a point where we wouldn't be able to walk in a mall and have a bad day. Like, I feel like no other couples, but they could walk in a mall and not talk to each other, and no one's gonna mind their business. But as soon as we step out the car, we have to be on. And you know how exhausting that is? Like, we can't sit at a restaurant and have a fallout because we have to be on. Someone is watching. They're gonna say, they're happy on social. And yes, when we're happy, but there's also really horrible times. But I'm not gonna show a reel of him being angry. Like, I
'Cause
don't know.
then they're gonna
or me,
cancel him.
Or me being disrespectful. I'm not going to show that. Like I'm in it. But like I said, I want us to decenter the idea that in order for God to bless you, in order for you to be living in your purpose, does not mean everything is in the straight row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of what I want to introduce, that, Amanda, I love my life.
Yeah.
I have a big, beautiful, abundant life, right? And I love it. And I work hard at my life. And I make sacrifices for my life. And there's certain things that I don't get to experience that I would love to experience in my life, but I don't. And I have to paint that picture that, hey girl, or hey guy, whoever you are, you can have your dream life, whatever that looks like, but don't you dare think it's going to just be smooth sailing. You're going to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're going to lose out on some stuff, and then you're going to have to fight through a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Your parents are here. No. Your parents are here.
The parents are here. But
And-
also, sorry,
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that note, I just wanted to add this. I'm a Christian girl. I'm a Christian. I love my Jesus. But I'm not, remember, I was already a bad girl at 14. So already, purity culture kicked me out of being the perfect Christian. And so throughout, when my social media was growing, all the comments was, how can you as a Christian? How can you as a Christian? And I got so exhausted about it, and I realized that, well, maybe that's why people don't want to be Christian, because if we can't be who God created us to be Christian, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So I kind of think, and maybe I'm wrong, and I will apologize in a year or when I'm 40
When you
if I
write
was
another
wrong.
book.
But right now, perhaps my purpose from God is to give permission to other people like me who are not good girls, who didn't go the narrow path, that you're fine. I like you the way you are. I love those quirks. I put that in you. I allowed that to happen to you, and you're not garbage. You're amazing. I can still do things in your life, and that's really just it. I just want to show that life is still going to happen. I'm still going to make mistake. I'm going to be wrong. I'm going to say what I'm not supposed to say. But man, I wake up every day and I'm trying.
Yeah.
And that's what matters.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a stack of many other questions, so maybe someday you and I will have another conversation. But I want to say that you have absolutely liberated a lot of people through this book, through you telling your story.
Thank you.
And I can tell you that I read it with not somebody that knows you,
Okay.
but I couldn't help it. So every time I was reading it, I was like, oh yeah, that's why. But one of the things that you say, and when you say you give permission to people to heal,
Yeah.
I think you're giving yourself permission to process your life,
Absolutely.
therefore others can do the same, because if MPOOMY is not perfect and MPOOMY has always been on this pedestal, therefore actually maybe my life is also just like not bad, right?
Yeah.
And two things, and remind me if I forget. You said we must be a mess.
Yeah.
Like we must allow ourselves to be a mess. You said this at my
your
retreat,
retreat, yeah.
at Wilkerson's. You said, one of the things that you are really coming to terms with is that we must be a mess.
Yeah.
You have no idea how much that has changed me.
I changed you.
Yeah, you did. Of course, you changed me all the time.
Did y'all hear that?
It has changed me because it made me, the first time you said it, I've been processing it for a long time, and you said it again at the retreat. And when you say we must allow ourselves to be a mess, and the people who are in my cohort of generations and before might tell you that actually, upon reflection, I think the younger generation is giving us permission to heal. Because the idea of BMS, yo, kanjani, you must fall apart, yo. So it's like it jolts your system into thinking about things. And I remember when I turned 45 last year, just before I turned 45, I went to see a therapist. I hadn't seen one since my 20s. And I said, I feel like I no longer have anything to heal from. And I feel like my life is moving to the next layer, but I'm not equipped to live a life where I'm not surviving.
Sure.
My life has always been about survival. And so one of the things I said to the therapist was, I've built this life. It's amazing. It's all of these things. But I'm sitting here and I'm like, because it has come at a severe cost.
Yeah.
And you say you've worked so hard for your life, and I understand that.
Yeah.
There's many people here who have put their souls into building the lives that they have. But the hardest thing is to stop for a moment.
Yes, ma'am.
And say, it's okay.
Yeah.
I haven't got to that yet, but I've already achieved
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
And so thank you for also allowing me to be that person. I realized that, in fact, I've always ridden on perfectionism, everything has to be. But over time, I learned to reword it to excellence. So everything I touch, I have to touch with excellence.
Excellent, yeah.
But excellence also costs.
Yeah.
But if you want to succeed, you got to put something on the table, right? But you said I must be a mess, and I think I'm taking it to the extreme. Because I just think, it is what it is. I can. So bad that even, okay, I haven't got to the time one yet.
Yeah.
We're wrapping up now. But spelling mistakes were the thing that used to send me up Mount Everest and back down, crashing.
Yeah.
When my team sent me a document or an email with a spelling mistake or a grammar mistake, my brain would shut down and I wouldn't read beyond the mistake. If I had sent a text or an email with, the THE, sometimes that E becomes R, or it becomes T, or
Something weird.
before, I would recall that message. I would call IT to tell me how do I recall an email so that I can fix there. Yeah. Now I will send the text and it's got R instead of E. I'm like, MPOOMY said I can be a mess.
God bless.
So I'm fine with it. So I really applaud you for telling your story. I applaud you for coming from such a fresh perspective as a Christian woman.
Yeah.
You are a mom to
Yeah.
beautiful, gorgeous human beings whom I absolutely adore. Ningamakhaladi kini? Kunani? Kunento lapha?
Sure, borderline. Wait, Amanda, before you move on from the mess thing, I have to
Yes.
tell this story. There's 2-3 big messes that I've had with you. The first one, we went to Tanzania together, and we sat the whole Sunday by the poolside, and no one had been that vulnerable with me. And I came back, and I'm like, hi, ngizoba sharp, man. Like, I'm going to be fine in this life thing, And a few weeks back, I was sick, so sick, like a bad flu. So my body, I've learned that under stress, I just get a flu. That's just stress. And I was so sick, and I randomly said, hey, can I come over? And I got to your house, and she had cooked samp, and this is like 9 in the morning, and she cooked samp and stew and a whole shebang, and we sat on your couch, and man, I just got to cry. I think when you get to a certain space in life, and I write about this, where you're not allowed to say, this hurts. How dare you? You're so privileged.
Yeah.
Like, you're not allowed to feel pain because at least that.
Yeah.
So, for example, for you, it's like, yeah, you don't have a good relationship with your mom, but at least your kids love you. But it's like, but
That's
still
not, yeah.
no, it's still
Yeah.
you still have your pain, and
Yeah.
we tend to minimize it because other parts of our lives, which are maybe more appealing to others, are going well. So I got
Yeah.
on your couch, and man, I just told you how everything is just a mess, and we just sat there, and I got home and I had no more cough in me. I was not coughing, the flu had gone. And I'm telling this because we sit with lifestyle diseases, we
Yeah.
sit with all sorts of things, not because of what, but because we're just harboring stuff that you just need to talk about. And after I spoke about it, and things that are embarrassing, I tell you such embarrassing things that no one should know, and you never judge me about it. And when I'm fine again, you don't remind me what I when last week you said. You know? And I think we just, and this is how I'm wrapping up, is that I just hope we all have a space where we can do that. In fact, it's World Mental Health Day today, and I became a problem, and I think my family will attest to this. I became a problem the day I lost my cousin, my sister, because so much stuff was buried in her, and I decided, well, if someone is going to say something in the family, it's going to be me. If you're going to treat me badly, everybody's going to know about it. If I do something wrong, everybody's going to know about it. And when we make up, everybody's going to know about it, and nothing will change. And that is liberating. What I'm not going to do is protect anyone anymore, because that's what my cousin did, and it landed her in the grave. So what we're not doing anymore is protecting people. If people misbehave, we speak about it, we solve it, or I don't know. But what we are going to do, we are going to start talking. Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is how you break generational curses and things, because now we still blame the previous generation that swept things under the carpet, and then you spend the rest of your life either drinking, going to places you shouldn't be, doing things you shouldn't be because you're numbing the pain.
Yes.
So I applaud you. Thank you, and well done. We are going to do a Q&A. Thank you. Thanks, Praise.
I'm back.
Sorry, I got so threatened by two ladies who kept saying 5 minutes, 5 minutes. So, do we have a, okay, great. We're going to just allow MPOOMY to catch her breath. And then we'll take, okay, I already have 2 questions here. 1, 2, 3. This side, I'll take 2. Got you? Okay, so let's start here, Praise. Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Your name and your question from MPOOMY.
Hi, MPOOMY. I'm such a big fan.
Thank
my
you.
name is Nozi, and I'm at a place in my life right now where you are the college dropout, university, and I think I'm a corporate dropout.
Okay.
And I want to know, I believe in God so much, and I believe God told me to do this, but you know, there's those times where the doubt creeps in. What for you kind of was like that, okay, you know, I got this, God's got me. What is it in your life that helped you keeping on?
Sure. Like I said, there's a lot of blur of those days after I drop out because I was surviving. But I'll be honest in saying, and I wish my parents brought the dress. And today we said a lot of things about attention, but I've got really phenomenal parents. Can we just give my parents a hand of I have the most amazing, loving, and supportive parents, and I don't take that for granted. I changed my mind a lot growing up, and I wanted to be a dermatologist, and then I wanted to be a designer, and then I wanted to be this and this. And every single time, not once did my parents say, "I just make up your mind." But everything I did, they were in the front seats. Every single thing that I did, my parents were front row, and I'm 30 years old, and they are still front row.
I actually want to, I couldn't help it
Yeah.
because there's a chapter in the book where you write about your dress that you designed
Yeah.
and made, and your dad took you to the market
Yeah.
to buy the material.
material.
Oh, did I cry? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that father is so amazing. So
So I share that because I knew that whatever happens, my parents will support me. Ne? I didn't bother them though. I tried my best not to bother them, but I knew that whatever I start, they will support it. So I have to put that out there because that is a privilege. That is a privilege that not everybody had. So I have a fallback. If all else failed, I knew that I could go home. Ne? And then what kept me going is I don't have a quitting bone in me. So every day I wake up, I think I've in business end. I'm just starting a new thing. I'm just doing this. I'm texting this one, and I just did stuff. I did stuff. I served at church. I just kept myself busy. And something, man, I think taking risks, like just take risks, something will catch. Something caught. Literally,
Yeah.
that is my story. I did everything. I took risks. I lost money. I did every job you can imagine, and something caught.
Yeah.
And that is it. I won't even lie to you and say, oh, just praise and worship. No, I promise you, it wasn't as simple as just praying. There was prayer, but it wasn't as simple as that. There were real emotions where I thought, whew, it was tough. But then there was also those realizations that I can go home. I've done something before. My parents are there. I've got support. Ngizame, a lot of things, something will catch.
And I guess it's just that backing yourself.
That
Just
backing yourself too.
You have
Yeah.
nobody else to back, because you gave everything you've got.
Yeah.
Even though you had the fallback
Yeah.
home, you
Yeah.
didn't go, actually, I'm just going to go sit at home and do nothing. So all the best.
You'll be
Corporate
fine.
dropout. I
You'll be
love
fine.
you. Welcome. And you're not a corporate dropout. You just left corporate. Yes, there we go. And then you, lady, ne? You had your hand up? Oh, okay. Oh, hi.
Hi, I'm Maggie, and I love you. So it seems there's a common theme because I also left corporate almost a year ago, and I'm at that point in my career of figuring it out and trying everything. You start a business, you start a YouTube channel, and one thing that my husband and I are very different, and he says you need people around you and relationships, like you never know which relationship is going to lead to your next business opportunity or you breaking through in an industry. But I feel like I relate to you where I use intuition when it comes to relationships with people. So if I feel that this person's they're not fitting in my life, they're not right for me, I am like, stay away from that person. Whereas my husband's like, just keep everyone close because you never know. Yeah. So my question is, how do you know who to have around you when you're building an empire?
Oh, that's a good question. I think Oprah said this. She had a trending little thing where the minute you sense a little hint of jealousy, leave. And I'm telling you this because I've gotten so burned because you're trying to prove, I can sustain relationships. Leave. You will be fine. And the people who are meant to be in your life will be in your life. They will honor you, you will honor them, and they will celebrate you, and you will celebrate them. There will be no hint of jealousy. There will be no desire of them to want to be like you, or no desire of you to want to be like them. It is okay to sometimes be in a season of isolation. Guys, it's okay to isolate. I'm not saying stay in isolation, but there's seasons in our lives that require just a little bit of isolation, just a little bit of isolation. And then when you start finding yourself, the relationships start coming. And the thing with the right people around you is that the way in which I've found, the way in which the relationship will grow is that even through conflict, there's grace in that. There's grace in that relationship, and there's space for you to be you and to be human. And also, don't make the mistake of wanting relationships because of where it will take you. just be with
crash
people
and
because you
burn.
want to be with those people. Unless you want a mentor, then say, "Mkela, please be my mentor." But there's nothing more painful than someone pretending to be your friend, but they want something from you. So don't be that person. Rather be in your, it's not even about quantity, it's about the quality of your relationships. Be secure with the people you're with. And like I said, be okay with saying goodbye and not having people in your space. We do this with kids. Like for me, as soon as someone disrespects my child, proximity value, done, finished. Because what you're not going to do is tell my child who she is in a negative light. And so if I'm doing that with my child, why can't I do it for me? Why do I want to be with people who don't make me feel good about myself, who when I go home I feel like throwing up because the conversations don't align with my values? Yebo nizokhuluma vele, you know, it's fine. Yes, the relationship didn't work out, but man, I've got peace. I've got peace when I go to bed, and that's what I want for you. And the right relationships will come. Yeah.
But then when you go home, don't say MPOOMY said.
Yes.
We wish you well, my darling. Hi. Yes.
Hi, Sanbonani. Kamala Mutembi. I'd firstly like to thank MPOOMY for just being you. Honestly speaking, I stumbled upon your channel. You were even before you were pregnant with Nuri, and then only to find a few months later or a year or so, then you got pregnant, and I got pregnant around about the same time.
Yeah.
So your journey has literally almost aligned with where I was, but obviously the circumstances were different. So my thing was, you put me through, or took me through rather, a very hard time, especially with postpartum depression. Because I didn't have support. I lost my mom when I was 15. So the notion of, I didn't have that at all.
Yeah.
So that time, I had internet, and I had YouTube. So literally the internet was my solace. And I literally would wait for you to post every single time you were interacting with your child, and that gave me so much grace to even be there for myself when I couldn't be. So I'm so glad for you, especially from the beginning. Your book, I haven't finished it, I'm only a few pages in, but I can feel it's gonna do a thing for me, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Sending you
sharing.
lots of love. And she writes quite a bit about her pregnancy. So you people were being bad girls at the same time. And we've got a lady there, and I'll take one more, and that will be the last one. There.
Oh, we have a gentleman. We have to have one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you. There you go. I don't have my glasses on.
All
So
right.
we'll go that lady, the gentleman, and the lady at the back.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you so much. Batung, so beautiful. I'm seeing you for the first time today. I'm like, you know what? So you've literally built a company, because sometimes I see on your post you mentioned that you're building a company, right? And the brand and the company that you've built is more or less in the same line as me. So I'm in entrepreneurship, but I'm a business coach, right? And I do consulting and I help small businesses to grow. But a lot of the times, and I've seen with what happened to you when you did your festival and all of that, and people are saying there's nothing different about you. Like, we've seen that happen. You did this. It looks like everybody else. You messed up there. You could have done this better, you know. And when I started to know you as well, I was a bit judgy. I'll admit it. I was like, it's just another pretty face, you know. Do you get what I'm saying? So I just want to hear from you. How did you get to a point where you're saying, I'm building a company, this is a business? Yeah. Because sometimes I feel like a business coach is not a business, it's not business enough. Yeah. I feel like for me to qualify as somebody who's building a business, I have to have a product that people can say, oh, here's a book, or here's a beauty cream, I'm buying this, and feel confident in that. So how did you really step out and say, this is a business, this is my brand, I'm making money out of it, and people are going to buy my course, people are going to buy my book, people are going to pay to come to my festival, you know, because I'm currently growing a book club, right? And I always feel like somebody can just easily go to Exclusive Books, buy a book, and why do they need me to come and teach them how to implement what's on that business and pay me for it? So how did you really build that confidence to say, I'm here and it's a business, you're gonna give me money for my knowledge, for my thoughts and what God has put inside of me to transfer to you?
Yeah. I love how the most judgmental people are the ones who are always at the forefront of seeing what others are doing. The same ones they judge. Like, how did they know it was nothing special? They were there. so I just couldn't resist, you know, and it's always the people, the ones who criticize the most are the ones sitting on their couch
Watching.
with a what's that thing you people wear? A bonnet.
Why is a bonnet catching smoke?
I don't understand bonnets. I don't know why people wear them. My kids wear them. I'm like, why? It's those people, and then they wear those gowns. You know those gowns that are pink and you can see through it. And then they are wearing their slippers. Yeah, what are those slippers that now look the other way instead of that way? So I'm glad you gave yourself a chance to see what this pretty face is about.
Thank
so
you.
welcome.
Thank you so much. Are you making money from your mind? Yes, I am. So it's a business. You're making money, so it's a business. It's a business. As long as good income, expense, profit, it's a business. And that's just, and even going into influencing, because I had a salon and it was my business and it was doing well. And then I started making money from this thing. And immediately when I started making money, I registered a company and it became a business. And sometimes we faff around and we want people to tell us what it is we're doing. You get to decide what it is. Abanye, they will, bazobuza kuwe, like they will ask you and you will define it. Guti, yeah, vele, it's my business. And so no, we don't have it figured out. But what we're gonna do, because we're trying to make money and we're growing something and we see the vision, is the way that we show up. We show up in a way that we believe in what we're doing, because how can you sell something that you don't believe in? If you're calling it amakosnyana, that's how everybody's gonna view it and no one's gonna pay for it. But it's my course, it's my IP, it's my knowledge, it's my time. I charge for my time. I don't charge for what I've written there. If you want to quantify my work by the pages, then you've got it all wrong and you're not my client. But my client understands that 30 minutes of MPOOMY doing this is how much it costs. But it's a confidence where you literally have to wake up. Entrepreneurship is delusion. You have to wake up every day and be delusional that this thing is working out. And for the people who are sitting saying it's just another thing, then you do the just another thing.
Exactly.
Osmonisa, the new innovation. How about you show us what this new thing we should be doing is? And it's not as easy as that. I know it sounds like it's just melting off my lips, but a lot of time it's having to remind yourself that the people who are talking are not doing anything, because the people who are busy and doing stuff know how hard it is, and they would never say anything to someone else who's trying. So don't worry about the ones who are talking.
Yeah. And we'll go to the lady, and I just think maybe just to add a top of your, I promise I'm not guararing anyone anymore. People buy your confidence in what you're selling. If you think it's small, then haike. Hey, nobody's buying it. So even if you are the only one in the company, it's you and your team. It's us. It's us. But it may, and it's a mindset thing, as you said, it's a mindset thing, because it may be that other functions in the business are done by other people. That's your team. It may be that, you know, as an entrepreneur, you, especially when you're starting out, you have to slice yourself up into multiple pieces to be able to do things. That's your team.
Yeah.
So delusional, schizophrenic, you name it, multiple personalities. That's
a
the
team.
definition of an entrepreneur. And no disrespect to any mental illnesses, but that's really what it is. So you gotta believe in what you're selling, then somebody else is gonna buy it. And look good selling it. Yes, please. Then we'll come to the gentleman.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Hi, I'm MPOOMY and Amanda. So, my name is Tato. I'm a little nervous, but whatever. So, I was fortunate enough to be part of your Gal Pal volunteers when you did Unlimited Fest. And I think we never actually got the opportunity to say well done on the day because you looked exhausted by the day was done. Yeah. So I think my main question, even though I haven't finished reading the book, which chapter do you think left you at your most vulnerable? So the reason why I asked this is because obviously you speak about your upbringing, your parents, your partnership with Brandon, building an empire, you know, good girl gone bad, if we want to put it in that sense. So which chapter do you think left you vulnerable? Obviously you included it in the book because you mentioned 2 chapters went out, but I think I'm more interested to find out which one left you going, yeah, well, let's just go with it.
Oof. The whole book?
Can I tell you which ones I felt were
maybe help you.
And I guess because there's quite a lot of us that can relate.
Okay.
Where you were speaking about I'm sorry, but where you were speaking about being molested by a family member, and how you actually got to find out that he was doing it to others.
Yeah.
And how you were the eldest and you found out your younger sister or younger cousin younger sister had experienced it. I remember when I found out my sister was older than me. I was 23 when I found out she was also getting molested by the same person, and we lived in the same house, and we never spoke about it.
Yeah.
And I think just your narration of how that, and in fact I think Auntie Gail said, you know, that a sexual molestation might be a violation, but your body actually enjoys it.
Yeah.
And for me, that was incredibly brave, courageous, and very, very admirable that you could utter those words.
Yeah.
And all around your experiences around sexual assault, which is something that as a community, as people, you don't say it. You still know, we spoke about sweeping things under the rugs. There's more sexual assault happening in people's homes than we know about. But what I found is the more people say Me Too, the more maybe we become a bit more vigilant in our own homes. With our children, teach them that, because you say this, you didn't know that he said it was a game he was playing with you. And remember, in an adult-child relationship, the power is imbalanced.
Yeah.
So whatever the adult says, the child believes.
Right.
I didn't know it was wrong. I just knew it was painful. Maybe if I go and unlock some part of my brain, I will admit that maybe it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it was not.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that also illustrates how we can all experience the same thing, but
Differently.
come out differently from it. So somebody else might have come out from sexual assault and they're this, wild, sexually explosive person. Another might come out and they're quite reserved sexually and they don't enjoy sex. So, Ngiyaxolisa bazali, kodwa ke you are here. So I don't mean to speak for you,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I felt that really touched me deeply. And I really think the 7-year each was quite a vulnerable
Yes.
chapter.
Yes, thank you so much. I haven't read my book. I haven't read it. I read chapter 1 and it was like, oh, this is fun. And then I got to chapter 2 and I'm like, oh, I'm starting to feel a little queasy. So thank you for the reminder. That was really vulnerable. I think it's called Not Once, but Twice or More. And I intentionally chose that title. That was vulnerable because I had to speak to my family about it. And it's uncomfortable. It's not fun. Like, we're talking, but it's not fun. Like, you literally just putting your stuff out there. So that was vulnerable, but like I said, I'm very therapized, and so which is helping me just remove shame. Like, shame is no longer a thing. Like, siyafana, we are all the same in some way, so I'm not feeling shame anymore. But that was really, I felt very naked. It's probably one of those days where after writing, Brendan did a lot of trips to the garage to get me salted caramel ice cream. I can't stand it anymore. I ate salted caramel ice cream and I had these rainbow puffs, and I just ate my life away while writing those chapters. And also, yeah, like I said, writing about my marriage is vulnerable because, like I said, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, sometimes you're writing and it's a good day. You and your husband are on cloud 9 and you're just clanking away. And sometimes it's like you've just had a fallout, but Usbongile is waiting for her chapter and I have to write. So writing about my marriage was quite vulnerable because we like I said, we don't grow up with the whole picture of marriage being shown. So it's almost a shame to speak about the things that are not going right. So yeah, that was quite vulnerable. But to be honest, the whole book was quite bare, but I did it with support. I had a lot of therapy. I would go to Amanda's house and write, be on her couch while she cooks me a meal. That's how I got through it. So the whole thing was it was a bit gruesome to a certain extent, but I had a lot of support, and now I'm like on the other side, and that's why I think I struggled to answer which one was vulnerable, because I'm on the other side, and it's like, oh no, I'm okay with it, but yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The gentleman, I assume that's the last one, right? Okay, thank you.
Hi, MPOOMY. Hi, Amanda. How are you?
Hi, good, how are you?
Good. My name is Harmony. First, I just wanted to say congratulations on the book and also just on being a very powerful voice for this generation, you know, raising a standard, raising, you know, the bar. And also shout out to Brandon.
Thank you.
For the support. May God
Thank
continue to bless your marriage, your family, and your life.
We love Brandon.
So my question is a twofold question. One, the main question is, what does peace look like to you right now at this moment? But I mean, because earlier on we were speaking about how you have peace now, and what does peace look like for you? And then the second part of that question is, how do you know the difference between peace and what your family, life, society has normalized as a habit and kind of think is peace?
That's a beautiful
Thank you.
question. So I'm very in touch with my body, and I think that's the whole point of wisdom and wellness, to teach women to be in touch with their body. We all know when something doesn't feel right, but some of us numb it. We quickly run to food, we quickly run to alcohol, we quickly run to talk about someone else so that we can feel good about ourselves. And we all have our things that we run to. And we also know when something feels... So I listen to my body, I pay attention to my body, I feel it here. I think it's an exercise I've developed over time, where not necessarily saying I will always act right, but like I'm able to articulate that, oh, this was vulnerable because immediately after I had to ask Brendan to go buy me ice cream. It means there's something there, like something uncomfortable. Why am I trying to numb it? Why am I trying to, you know? But to be clear about what peace feels like, and I think only have this definition now is peace feels like acceptance. So my vice is control. People have different things. Mine is control. As soon as I see when there's something that's, as soon as fear rises in my life, it's control. You have to control it. You have to be in charge. You have to make sure you're 10 steps ahead, you know? That's why I'm so good with money, because I have to be 10 steps ahead. If this happens, I've got this. If this happens, I've got this. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, it's my thing. If I've got control, it's like my drug of choice, right? And so now I'm going back to saying just being a mess. That's peace for me, is that I'm a mess and I accept that. I'm good at this. No, in fact, I'm brilliant at this. I accept it. I don't excuse it. And when I get a compliment, I don't try to quickly hash one out for you so that we can level the, no, thank you so much for the compliment. Peace is, this is going really wrong in my life and I need to cry right now, and I'm going to cry right now. In fact, the other day, the school teacher asked me, hey, how are you doing? And I broke down in tears on her shoulder. Yeah. I did. And afterward I said, oh, thank you so much. I needed that. And I went home and I had a great day. And so I'm a mess. And that's peace, man. That is peace. And because I've always strived to package my life so beautifully and put a bow on it so that everybody can be happy, like as if it's like something has lifted where the peace is saying, Guti, like when you say, hey, would you like to meet for breakfast? And I can say, no, I can't. And I don't fear that she's going to kick me out as her friend. That's peace. For me, that's peace. To be able to say, no, I can't, full stop. And not fear that she's going to kick me out because I displeased her. Or to celebrate with a friend who's going through a hard time and really be in that and not feel like she's thinking, ooh, Lorna. That's peace. To be able to say no and mean it, and to be able to say yes and mean it, and to be able to make a mistake and fight with yourself to go apologize. But even if I apologize under my breath, Oksala, I took the step and I apologize. So peace is that duality for me where, geez, man, I'm accepting. I don't have bows for you. I don't have a pretty box for you. This is it. Nishap. That's peace for me. That. Yeah.
I would like to say thank you very much. How many, your voice, man, yes, us.
Amanda.
Oh, sorry. Well, I am married, not dead, okay? I would like to maybe close by saying that I remember very well when you walked into my office, you were so small and so young. I have that photo in my favorites, and you had just gone through a really rough time around your pregnancy that you lost or wasn't viable. And I remember that day like it was yesterday, and the person I see sitting here, and that person, I am just like, wow. And that's why I always cry. So, well done, my sweetheart. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Please stay. We're going to have Shylock and Sbongile give us a few words. We are hosted by Exclusive Books Rosebank, so thank you very much for having us.
Thank you.
This is probably the worst part for me. I don't speak as well as other people. This is seeing people here and a room so full of people ready to celebrate books and black women is one of my favorite things in the world. And I wasn't going to speak because I, like I said, don't speak very well, but I'm very proud of you. And thank you for trusting me with this. And I hope it allows people to give you grace. Somebody at the office said this, that it is no small thing to pull off what she's done. She makes it look easy. And I think that we should let people know when they're doing well, and you're doing more than well. So in listening to this, I think there will be other books, and I'm very pleased by that. And you're definitely in your author era, and you wrote for you, and I encourage you to do that, but that's because I knew that this would happen. So I'm very proud of you, and congratulations, and taking the moment. And Amanda, thank you so much for being a discussant. I don't always like discussants. I don't know why, but this is probably one of the most authentic conversations I've had between two people. So thank you for giving us that. And I have to say this as well to the Jonathan Ball team. You guys get to see this. This is the pretty part. This is the fun part. And Boomy and I get to dress up and be in front of people. But there's a whole editorial team, publicity team, production team, customer service, and Boomy made customer service work because you guys bought books. So thank you to the Jonathan Ball team and to our friends at Exclusive Books as well. I think Rosebank is our second home. Thank you for supporting publishers, for supporting Black authors, and for always being ready to show up for us. Like, you guys know, we moved venues and they're like, yeah, sure, when, how, you know? So thank you so much for that.
Guys, I promise I won't be long. Just two things. All of you look amazing. Give yourself a round of applause. You came, you made efforts, you look amazing, you look amazing. For those who are seeing me for the first time here, I'm Shylock Matsunyani, I'm with Exclusive Books Rosebank Mall, and I can't believe it's 2018, the last time I saw you, Amanda. You? Jeez. It's so good to see you.
I hope I haven't changed much.
I would have missed it, right? Guys, the book signing is going to happen over there on that white table there where MPOOMY from Jonathan Ball is, where we've just turned the red carpet. I hope you don't mind the red carpet, darling. And I so wish to find this carpet, but I couldn't. I put it all on my jacket here. Family, thank you for sharing here with us tonight, but we can't thank you more. Also, MPOOMY, you are amazing, and Amanda, you guys are amazing.
Wait, why are you guys going? I still want to say thank you.
Please, let's allow her to say one last thing, and we've got a way of giving flowers here in Rosebank. The moment she's done, I'm going to ask all of you to be on your feet, and you're going to give her a yes, you were here. You were here. We're going to give her like a resounding thank you by clapping our hands. And to the last, Jonathan Ball, I mean, what more do I say, hey? Jonathan Ball rocks, guys, I tell you, hey? Over to you, MPOOMY.
Thank you. I just wanted to say my thank yous. Firstly to the Jonathan Ball team for we fought, eh? And when I say that, we literally fought. Our passion together is potent. I said this. But we fought for the right reasons, and I'm so glad that you gave me the grace to preserve my truth and my story with all the rules that come with books. I fought every one of them. There's titles that I wasn't allowed to have, but I said, unless it is written this, and you fought for me. Thank you so much. To the Jonathan Ball team, Zwanga, the marketing team, thank you for going all out for me. I know we were not easy to work with. You went over and above. Thank you. To Praise Girl, guys, Praise is 26, and she produced her first. Oh man, I'm so proud of her. The first time we worked together was my dad was hosting Joyous Celebration in Middleburg years ago, like 8 years ago, and she was still a child. And I needed someone to help Sal, and she came in a pair of high heels to come into tuck shop, to come work at that tuck shop. And I was like, and this girl, but you've grown so much. I've thrown you in every deep end this year, and I said, you handle it, and you did. And this is her, this is her, this is her. Well done, well done. To my parents, thank you for allowing me to tell my story truthfully, and not question and not try and say, hi, but you can't say this about us, and for growing. One of the most beautiful things about our relationship is, and I wrote about this, my mom asked my sister and brother and I how she was as a parent, and then she said, I'm sorry. We don't usually get parents who say, I'm sorry. End of last year, December, we sat as a family and we were vulnerable with each other, where my dad shared truths, my mom shared truths, my sister, we all shared truths that are so uncomfortable, but we chose each other, man. And so thank you, Mom, Dad, for always being on the front row seat. I don't remember a day where you're not in the front. And without you guys, shame. I don't know. Thank you. I think I wrote a lot in the book. I could say so much about my parents, but I honor them, I respect them, but they are also my friends. I'm allowed to drive home in the middle of the hour and to go lie on the couch and cry. But they also still see me and respect me for my gifts and my talents, but I'm also still their child. So, Mom, Dad, thank you. To my little sister, I said to her, I asked her for permission to write about her in the book, and I asked her, so what did you think of all these things? Did you hate me? And she's like, no, I don't think so. I'm not sure. But we got to process a lot together. We've gotten so close, and I'm so proud of the woman that you're becoming. And I can do a lot of things. I can leave and go be great because I have a sister that I can call, and she takes over. And she takes over. Thank you. I'm almost done, I promise. I have to. To my husband, shoo. God said, yeah, now I'm a soldier. These ones are the soldiers of the year. We've been through hell and back. But somehow, I think God's mercy just holds us together. And I'm so grateful that you allow me to be me. I don't think many men would be able to navigate a life with a woman like me. And you do it so gracefully. And I'm so grateful that above all, you put God's call upon my life first. Thank you. Amanda, I came to you and I said, thank you for being, representing a woman like me. We share so many similarities from the kind of bullying we've received or receive, navigating relationships with our personalities, feeling like we have to dumb ourselves. But then I met you. And I'm like, man, this woman owns who she is, and you've shown me that. And you navigate this big world and this big calling, but you're the most nurturing mother, the most loving wife, and such a beautiful, beautiful friend. There was no one better to host this conversation. The mere fact that I could just drive to your house and just write this book when I needed space. Thank you for being that. Thank you for teaching me how to run a business. Thank you for teaching me how to be a wife. Thank you for teaching me how to be a friend. You teach me so much, and I'm very, very grateful to you. Thank you. And I have a lot of special friends who I call my family, my people, who no matter what's happening, they'll always be there. You might not know their names, you might never ever see their faces, but I've got such special people who always have our back, and you guys know yourselves, and I'm so grateful for all of you guys. I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me the space to be me. to my girl pals, to you guys who showed up today. I'm so grateful, man. To my wisdom and wellness team, to everyone, man. Guys, I'm really, really thankful for showing up. Exclusive books, Jonathan Paul, Siabong. I'm gonna be signing books. I don't know if I can still take pictures. Do I still have mascara? Yeah, okay. But thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Please take your seats. Sorry. I did an announcement. I said there's a way of thanking the authors that come through to Rosebank. So if we can all be on our feet, and whilst you're on our feet, let me thank Ausma Butla, Wa Innovative Events and the Fortress Venue and her team for such a wonderful stage that they did here. And our sound guy, But Logan. I can't thank you, But Logan. It's so great to work with you every time. And guys, a resounding applause to Our Lady. All of you, please.
One more thank you. There's a sister of mine, I call her an angel, and I never ever mention her name because she never wants to be mentioned, but there she is, Mabotla. Mabotla is an angel. Every time something is happening, she is behind the scenes. I don't see her face. I don't see Uya Pitizela, but this looks beautiful because of you. Thank you, Mabotla. Every single time you show up for me, thank you. Thank you.